Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation. I'm excited to be here with you. Today, we're going to talk about teaching teens financial literacy, focusing on banking and more. We'll explore key concepts to help young people understand money better and make smarter financial decisions. So, let's get started and discover how we can empower teens with the skills they need for a bright financial future. Welcome to our financial literacy unit. This is the foundation of what we'll be exploring together. Throughout this unit, we'll focus on understanding key financial concepts that are essential for making smart money decisions. Financial literacy isn't just about knowing numbers. It's about developing skills to manage your money effectively, plan for the future, and make informed choices. As we go through each part, I want you to think about how these skills connect to your own life and your financial goals. By the end, you'll have a clearer picture of how financial literacy empowers you to take control of your financial well-being and set yourself up for success. What is finance? Well, at its core, finance is really the world of money. It's about understanding how money moves and how we manage it in our daily lives. When we talk about finance, we're looking at several key activities. First, earning. This is how we bring money in, whether through work, investments, or other sources. Then there's spending, which is how we use that money to buy what we need or want. Saving is also crucial, setting aside a part of our income for future needs or emergencies. Investing takes that a step further, helping our money grow over time by putting it into assets like stocks or property. Borrowing is another important aspect, using credit or loans to make larger purchases or fund projects, with the understanding that we'll pay it back later. All of these activities, earning, spending, saving, investing, and borrowing, are interconnected parts of managing money effectively. And understanding these concepts is essential because they form the foundation of personal and even broader economic health, which ties into the overall theme of financial literacy and smart money management. Now, let's move on to the key concept of what a check actually is. A check is a written instruction from the account holder, called the drawer, to their bank, called the drawee, to pay a specific amount of money to a person or organization, known as the payee. It's a widely used negotiable instrument that facilitates transactions without the need for cash. Next, we'll look at the different kinds of checks. There are various types, such as bearer checks, which can be cashed by whoever holds them, order checks, which are payable to a specific person or organization, and crossed checks, which have two parallel lines and can only be deposited directly into a bank account. Each type serves different purposes and offers varying levels of security. Moving on, it's important to understand the parties involved in a check transaction. The main parties are the drawer, who writes the check, the payee, who receives the money, and the bank, which processes the payment. Sometimes, there's also an endorser if the check is transferred to someone else. Now, let's talk about why a check might be dishonored. Common reasons include insufficient funds in the drawer's account, a signature mismatch, or a check being stale, meaning it's presented after the validity period. Dishonor can cause inconvenience and legal issues, so understanding these reasons helps us manage our banking activities better. Finally, we'll briefly look at the anatomy of a check and deposit slip. A check includes key elements like the date, payee's name, amount in figures and words, signature, and sometimes a bank branch. The deposit slip, on the other hand, is used to deposit cash or checks into your account and includes details like the account number, amount, and the source of funds. To wrap up this part, we'll do a quick activity, showing you how to write a check and fill out a deposit slip. This practical exercise will help you get comfortable with the process and understand the importance of accuracy in banking transactions. So, what exactly is a check? A check is essentially a written order from one person or business to their bank, instructing the bank to pay a specific amount of money to another person or entity. It's a traditional payment method that has been used for many years, especially before electronic transactions became common. When you write a check, you're authorizing your bank to transfer funds from your account to the recipient's account. Checks are important because they serve as a formal, traceable way to make payments, especially for larger amounts or when a paper record is needed. Understanding what a check is helps us see how this method fits into the broader landscape of financial transactions, which is a key part of our overall discussion on financial literacy and payment systems. Let's take a closer look at the essential features of a check. First, it's important to remember that a check is an instrument in writing. This means everything we need to authorize a payment is documented clearly on paper. Next, the date is a crucial element. It shows when the check was issued, which helps determine its validity and timing for the payment. Then, there's the payee's name. This indicates who is authorized to receive the funds, so accuracy here is vital to ensure the money goes to the right person or organization. When you connect these points, you'll see that each feature plays a key role in making the check a reliable and secure payment instrument. Together, they help prevent errors and fraud, ensuring smooth financial transactions. Let's dive into the essential features of a check. First, it must be unconditional ***. This means that the check should not have any conditions or restrictions attached to it. It's a straightforward order to the bank to pay a specific amount. Next, we have the ***amount***. This is the exact sum of money that the drawer wants to pay, and it must be clearly written to avoid any confusion or disputes. Moving on, the ***signature* is crucial because it authorizes the check. Without a valid signature, the bank won't process the payment. Then, we have the ***Drowey Bank***. This is the bank that is responsible for paying the amount specified on the check. Ensuring these features are correctly in place is vital for the check to be valid and to facilitate smooth financial transactions. These elements connect to the overall theme of understanding how checks work as reliable instruments of payment. Let's break down the key roles in a financial transaction: drawer, payee, and drawee. The drawer is the person or entity who writes the check or issues the payment. Essentially, they are authorizing the transfer of funds. The payee is the individual or organization receiving the payment. It's the person or company you're paying. Lastly, the drawee is the bank or financial institution where the drawer's account is held. The drawee is responsible for honoring the payment when the check is presented. Understanding these roles helps clarify how payments move through the banking system and ensures everyone's responsibilities are clear in the transaction process. This connection between the drawer, payee, and drawee is fundamental to understanding how financial instruments like checks function within our overall financial system. Let's take a closer look at this sample check. As you can see, it contains key details that help us verify the authenticity of a check. The first thing to notice is the payee's name, which indicates who the money is being transferred to. Next, we have the date, showing when the check was issued. The amount, both in numbers and words, is crucial to prevent any discrepancies. You'll also see the signature of the issuer, which is essential for validation. Additionally, the check number and bank details help trace the transaction. Understanding these elements is vital because they are the building blocks for ensuring secure and legitimate financial transactions. This sample check ties into our overall theme of financial security by highlighting what to look for when verifying payments. Let's take a closer look at two important types of checks: bearer checks and order checks. Bearer checks are quite straightforward. They are payable to whoever holds the check, meaning if you have the check in your possession, you can cash or deposit it. This makes them quite flexible, but also riskier in terms of security. On the other hand, order checks are payable only to a specific person or their order. To do this, the check must be made payable to a particular individual or entity, and it often requires a signature to endorse the check before it can be cashed or deposited. Understanding the distinction between these two is crucial because it affects both the security and the transferability of the check. Bearer checks are easily transferable just by handing them over, whereas order checks require endorsement, making them more controlled. These differences tie into the overall theme of our presentation, which is about understanding financial instruments and their proper handling to ensure security and efficiency in transactions. Today, I want to talk about two important types of checks: crossed checks and self-checks. First, let's start with crossed checks. These are checks that have two parallel lines drawn across the face, often with or without additional words like account payee. The main point here is that crossed checks cannot be cashed at the bank counter. Instead, they can only be deposited into a bank account, which adds an extra layer of security and helps prevent theft or misuse. Now, moving on to self-checks. A self-check is issued by the drawer to himself, meaning he writes a check payable to himself. This is often used when someone wants to withdraw cash from their own account or transfer funds between their own accounts. It's a convenient tool for personal financial management. Both these types of checks play crucial roles in ensuring safe and controlled banking transactions. Crossed checks help prevent unauthorized encashment, aligning with our overall theme of security in banking. Self-checks, on the other hand, offer flexibility for personal transactions. Understanding these concepts helps us appreciate the measures in place to keep our money safe and transactions smooth. Let's talk about two important concepts related to checks: post-dated checks and stale checks. A post-dated check is a check written with a future date on it. It's essentially a promise to pay on a specific date in the future, which means the bank generally won't process it until that date arrives. This is often used in business transactions to ensure payment is made at a later agreed-upon time. On the other hand, a stale check is a check that has not been presented for payment within a certain period, typically 6 months from the date written on it. After this period, banks may refuse to honor it because it's considered outdated or stale. This is important because it can affect whether a check is accepted or rejected and can have implications for cash flow and record keeping. Understanding these two types of checks helps us manage payments more effectively and avoid potential issues like rejected payments or delays. They are essential concepts in the broader theme of financial management and ensuring smooth banking operations. Now let's talk about how to write a check. First, it's important to fill in the date clearly at the top right corner. This helps keep track of when the payment was made. Next, write the name of the person or the company you're paying on the line that says "pay to the order of." Make sure it's spelled correctly to avoid any issues. Then, enter the amount you are paying in numeric form in the box next to the $sign. Be precise and write clearly to prevent any confusion. Below that, on the line with a $sign, write out the amount in words. This acts as a double check for the numeric amount. It's a key part of making the check official. After that, sign your name on the bottom right line. Your signature authorizes the payment, so it must match the one your bank has on file. Optional but useful, you can add a memo or note in the lower left corner, like what the payment is for. This helps you remember later. Remember, always write neatly and double-check all the details before handing over or mailing the check. This ensures the process goes smoothly and securely. Writing a check is a simple process, but paying attention to each step makes sure your transactions are accurate and trustworthy.